Good morning, Bucknutters. It's Tuesday, February 10th, 2015. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5. I am Dan Rubin. Gonna do a solo show today. See how that works out. I will go out of my way not to interrupt myself. But seriously, folks, got some great stuff to talk about. Want to begin with the news of the day, and then we're going to hit two major topics. Who is the second most responsible for Ohio State getting to where it is right now? I think we all agree. Number one is a man named Herb. Number two, I want to try and put into context just how good of a freshman season D'Angelo Russell is having for the basketball team. I'm not sure we all appreciate enough what he's doing. He is actually having, for a freshman guard, a historical season. So I've done a little bit of research, and I think I can put it in context of where he compares to the other greatest freshman guards to ever play NCAA basketball. So stick with us. It's just me. You might even get this thing under 5 minutes, but don't get your hopes up. Ladies and gentlemen, our long national nightmare is over. Mike Weber has tweeted "Go Bucks." Did so at 7:51 p.m. yesterday evening. Everybody was waiting from signing day since the movement of Stan Drayton onto the Bears. It seems that Mike is in favor of Tony Alford. Even saw Mike exchange tweets later that night with Kareem Walker, hashtag Buckeye Brothers. So there's nothing to worry about. There was a scandal during the day yesterday about, oh Lord, Mike lifting weights in a Michigan t-shirt. All that really matters is he's going to be toting the pigskin for the scarlet and gray, and that's a real good thing. There are some who argue that Ohio State is in the midst of what will become its greatest run in the history of an iconic program. It's taken a few years of real hard work to get here, and this year was an incredible experience. The question we're asking today is, who is the most responsible for Ohio State's success to this point under this current regime? Technically, the question is, who is second most responsible? I think everybody agrees the Herb is number one, but who's number two? Who's your choice? I have mine, an argument for it, but I'm going to give you 30 seconds here to figure it out for yourself. Also, don't forget this is a podcast, so you can just push pause. And we're back. So as I was considering this, first I went through the players, and I think had Braxton played this year and won the national championship, it would have been hard to choose anybody else besides him just because he's been the quarterback for the whole run. However, because there was a carousel of quarterbacks, this year I think the number two person responsible for Ohio State's national championship is Ed Warner. And I'll tell you why. Last year, he took a group of offensive linemen that was good and turned them into 3 future pros, which was extremely impressive. Look at what he did with the line he inherited. He turned Andrew Norwell, Jack Mewhort, and Corey Lindsley into first-year starter NFL players, which is incredible. Then he took a line this year which had nobody starting in the same position, just Taylor Decker backflip from right to left. Guys who had never started games in college except for Elflein when he jumped in for Marcus Hall against Michigan. And what he did was simply work some magic. Yes, they had their struggles in the Virginia Tech game, but there's a reason Urban Meyer called him a magician. The work he did with this group was incredible. It was the second youngest offensive line in terms of starts in Division I to Tennessee. So the fact that he turned that group into a national championship group, and one can make a pretty strong argument that they were, if not the biggest reason we won the national championship game, they were up there. I just think the massive amount of improvement shown under Warner is truly incredible. And, it's been interesting. On the recruiting trail, Warner has often gotten some guff for being a little bit more in your face and a little rough around the edges. My thing now is, If that turns off a recruit from Warner, we don't want him. We want guys who want to come here and play for Ed Warner, get ready for the NFL, and get tough and win national championships. So number 2 of my choice of responsibility for this run to the top is Ed Warner. It'd be kind of cool if everyone would now go into the thread and put down who your official choice was before you heard mine. Now, on to talk about a fantastic freshman. Okay, so I lied about the 5 minutes thing. This item is inspired by my college roommate. Some of you may know him, Brian Sauce. He lives within hailing distance of the university and is a fine scarlet and gray devotee. But he has gotten into a habit of, when I'm watching Ohio State basketball games, of sending me one-word texts. And that word is magic. And he is referring to D'Angelo Russell, and he is comparing him to Magic Johnson. Originally, I responded to these tweets assuming that my roommate was intoxicated. Not that surprising, but as this has gone on, I think there's a strong argument to be made, that D'Angelo Russell is having one of the historic freshman seasons in the history of college basketball. So I went back and did a little research, and I think I can make an argument now that he's among, so far, the top 4 guards as freshmen in the NCAA. And here are the other 3. Magic Johnson, Kenny Anderson, and Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, who at the time was named Chris Jackson. I'm not going to bore you guys with the stats of each of them. I'll put all their stats in the first message board response so you can check them out for yourself. But suffice to say, Russell's numbers do hold up. And if I had to go through a ranking of all time, this is just my ranking, I would have to go number 1, Magic Johnson. I just think his transcendence and how he changed the game, even when he was a freshman, keep in mind the win over Bird was after his sophomore year, was incredible. So check out, you'll see his numbers in the thread and be impressed, and it's Magic Johnson. Number 2 was my toughest. I wanted to go with D'Angelo here, but I think the second best freshman guard is Kenny Anderson, who played at Georgia Tech. I was amazed when I went back and looked at the statistics he put up. They are truly incredible. And I know Kenny Anderson's an NBA career kind of soured everybody on him. He turned out to be a pretty selfish guy, had some serious off-the-court problems. He's one of those guys who you hear about with money problems to this day. But he was truly a legend in New York City and was incredible at Georgia Tech as a freshman. When you look at his numbers in the thread, I think you'll agree he has to be number 2. Number 3, I'm going D'Angelo Russell. What he's being asked to do is incredible. There was a discussion on the Bucknuts 90 this past weekend. We asked Steve Hellwagon if he'd go Jim Jackson or D'Angelo Russell as a freshman, and he talked about how Jim Jackson was going against tougher competition and such, had a better team around him. I agree with all that, but I don't think anyone is being asked to do as much as Russell is. I think a lot of us thought he was coming in here as a shooting guard to play next to Shannon Scott, and it's pretty obvious he's the point guard of this basketball team. His numbers are incredible, and what makes him so special is his three-point shooting ability. I've said I believe he is a hybrid of the young, healthy Penny Hardaway and James Harden. People forget Penny Hardaway was an all-NBA first-team player in the era when Michael Jordan had come back before he had knee problems. So, third best freshman guard of all time is playing for your Buckeyes. Don't miss a game, people, because he ain't going to be here for long. Hope you enjoyed the show, and as I said, we came nowhere near 5 minutes. Have a great day, Bucknutters.